Long ago, when the earth was young, it was dark all around. All the animals and people were so cold, and they kept bumping into each other all the time because they couldn't see where they were going. Something had to be done about this, and finally the animals agreed to meet and discuss it. "What should we do?" was the question. A low voice spoke out of the darkness. "I've heard of something called the sun." This was Bear. "It's kept on the other side of the earth, but the people there that have it are so greedy they won't share it. Maybe we could steal it." All the animals nodded their head in agreement. This was a very good idea, but who was going to be the one to steal the sun? One by one, a few brave animals stepped forward, and the rest hid in the darkness. The first to try was Fox. Stealthily, on soft padded paws, he crept to the secret place where the sun was kept. Silent and still, he waited until no one was watching. Then he grabbed the sun in his mouth and he started to run for his life. But the sun was so hot it burned his mouth and he dropped it. And that is why to this day foxes have black mouths and they don't come out in the sun. The next animal to try was Possum. Now in those long ago days, Possum had long, beautiful tails. So proud Possum sneaked up to the place where unfortunate Fox had dropped the sun and ran back with it balanced on her magnificent tail. But the sun was so searingly hot that it scorched away all the hair on Possum's tail, and just like Fox, she dropped it. And that is why to this day all possums have long, bare tails. And just when the quest seemed hopeless, Grandmother Spider stepped forward out of the bushes. Although she was much smaller than the other animals, she was very clever. "May I try?" she asked quietly. And instead of trying to hold on to this fiery ball, she wove a fine silk bag from one of her dew-dropped webs. When she found the sun, she dropped it carefully in her bag, and she carried it back without burning herself. Everyone began rejoicing, yet one important question remained. Where was the sun to go now that they had it? Grandmother Spider had the answer. "We should put the sun high up in the sky. That way everyone will see it and benefit from the light." This was perfect. All the animals agreed, but no matter how hard they tried, they reached and they leapt, but no one was tall enough to reach the sky. Then Buzzard swooped down on his great feathered wings. "I can fly higher than any bird. I will carry the sun into the sky." The sun was still blazing, even inside its silk bag, so Buzzard placed it on top of his head, where his feathers were the thickest. He began to fly higher and higher above the clouds. Yet the higher he flew, the hotter the sun got, and it began to burn through the silk bag. Even so, Buzzard kept flying up, up, and up, until all the feathers on his head were gone. Still he kept flying, even when the skin on his head began to get burned. It turned red. Finally, he reached the very top of the sky, and he placed the sun there for all to see. And that is why, to this day, some buzzards have bald, red heads. As the sun's rays streaked across the sky like the strands of Grandmother Spider's woven web, the world below was bathed in light and warmth, and animals and people all across the world rejoiced. And Buzzard was honored for bringing light to the sky, and he can still be seen circling around the sun today.